Hello and welcome to the Freedom Stein Laboratory. I am your host, Diane Student, otherwise known as Freedom Stein Munster on X. And today is the 26th day of December, the day after Christmas. Hope you guys all had a fabulous Christmas. I'm wondering if you're all feeling kind of the way I am today. I have the strains of that song torn between two lovers, feeling like a fool. You know that song? I kind of feel that way right now. Today is like Doomsday Friday or whatever. I mean, this was the Valhalla. I'm assuming this evening is going to be dropping his dump on Mitch, Candace's informant from Fort Huachuca, because we haven't had, unless behind the scenes, Mitch has been talking to Valhalla or Nate, whatever you want to call him. Um, I think the ultimatum has not been met for Nate. So he's just going to unload all this stuff. And of course, I find myself in the middle where I think a lot of you probably are. We want answers. We're not sure what to trust. We have people that we admire that seem to be gathering on all different sides. I mean, I cut my teeth on Alex Jones. And right now he's acting a fool. I mean, I understand if you don't agree with Candace's tactics or what have you, but it just seems stupid to me when you come out and you're like, well, I just really care about Candace and I want to protect her from what could happen to her and everything, as if Alex could, direct anybody in what not to do after you've been sued for $1 billion. I mean, dude, I don't think you are going to be somebody who's going to be telling anybody how to. I'm sorry, I hit my desk here and it made my camera move. Telling anybody how to move forward and not get yourself in trouble with lawsuits and such like that. And this isn't Candace's first rodeo. She's been sued many times or what have you. And I just, I don't know where I stand on this because there's so many people that I really respect that are completely against Nate. And for a lot of the reasons that I have issues with Nate, I don't like his ego. I'm a lesbian, so sometimes the male testosterone can get a little bit to me, especially when you have a lot of ego behind it. I don't care for it at all. And when you put out there, well, I really care about women, and this is why I'm getting all upset about things. On the other hand, I do like that Nate has decided to go forward with this because there's a lot of people that are followers of Candace that are just taking everything hook, line, and sinker. And I have complete faith in Candace and I don't doubt a darn thing. And it's very reminiscent to me of back with Q. And as people were calling everybody who followed Q, QAnon or whatever, even though it wasn't even really a thing. But I had some really good friends that were following Q blindly and were like, yep, all we got to do is follow the plan. Trump is actually the president and everything is happening exactly like it's supposed to. We've got the white hats behind the scenes, and they're taking care of everything. And as I watched President Biden destroy this country chunk at a time, not even little bite size, like huge chunks at a time, I kept thinking to myself, if this is according to the plan, this plan sucks. And there's no way that President Trump is in control and letting this happen, because you don't really have to take the country down this far that when you come back, you're Mr. Triumphant. And now that we have President Trump in, we're finding out he's not Mr. Triumphant. I mean, it's not the lollipops and rainbows and unicorns and all the stuff we thought it was going to be, is it? It's way better than it was. And he did get that border closed. But wow, you can't keep going around saying promises made, promises kept when you aren't doing it. And his administration is just fumbling all over themselves and just not happy with a lot of the stuff that's happening or being called, stupid or whatever because I, want information on certain things. But I kind of feel like a lot of the people who were following Q are now following Candace and they're handling it exactly the same way. And I'm like, do you guys not learn from what happened before? because we found out Q was nothing. I, it was probably some kind of psyop. I hear people saying that General Michael Flynn may have been behind it. I don't know anything about it. All I know is I was never on that Q train because I was like, I totally believe that a certain something was rigged in a certain way and somebody got into office because of it. Definitely happened. We're getting so much proof even now about it. Although I'm like, I don't really know what the point is to keep pursuing this because we can't change anything now. You can't rewind 4 years of time and what happened to this country. So it would be good for historical facts and for people to look back in the future, and definitely gives us something to stand on to be like, we have to do something to improve the way voting is done here in America. Although they're never going to go back to just paper ballots on one day, which is what we really should be doing. But I never saw like when all the Q stuff was happening, I was like, I don't get this or following the plan. And I feel like people are following the plan with Candace. And I don't really know what's going on here with this Mitch guy. I don't know if he just really is a complete grifter who's looking for money. It seems like a really stupid way to go about getting it. You probably shouldn't go on the number one podcast in the world and lie or make a fool of yourself or whatever. So it feels like he can't just totally be grifting for money. But then if somebody, maybe, I don't know, their mental state, if you have a little bit of illness, maybe you wouldn't be acting correctly. So then I'm like, well, maybe he is a plant. And this is the way that whoever, I don't know if it's the global government, the deep state, intelligence, Mossad, another country, if this is a way to discredit Candace because she's holding on to this like a dog with a bone. So I don't know if they're like, yay, she took this and now it's going to make her look like a fool. We're going to discredit her and her entire investigation is going to get thrown out. But the only reason why I don't completely think that is this is a really stupid way to go about putting a plant out there, because I wouldn't think if you were going to place a plant, you would try to implicate Erica Kirk at the same time. So if he had come forward and was just talking about maybe some other people that are connected to TPUSA, or he was even talking about, I saw a bunch of Semitic looking guys or Arab looking guys or something that were in this meeting with all of these generals on the base at Fort Huachuca, that to me would seem more like that was kind of a plant or something, if it was something along those lines. But I really don't think if you're going to place a plant to discredit Candace, you would be like, hey, let's go ahead and implicate Erica Kirk while we're at it, and TPUSA. Because if we're supposed to believe that they had something to do with this and we got rid of the head of TPUSA, they're certainly not going to implicate the rest of them, I wouldn't think. So I just really feel like I'm in the middle, and I don't know what to think. And people are, taking a stand over here and taking a stand over here and placing their flags. And I don't know that we can place our flag in either one. I said on the last podcast that I did that this is what the defense and prosecution will do when you have a trial, is they will try to discredit witnesses, because if you can't trust what they're saying because of the kind of person that they are, then you might throw out their testimony. So I kind of feel like that's what's going on with Mitch, is that they're trying to discredit him so that whatever he says about what happened at Fort Huachuca just gets thrown out, baby with the bathwater kind of thing, which would be a really good tactic. But I also, in my mind, I'm thinking, but if somebody really is that kind of an individual, like, I mean, I don't know if Nate's got all the goods about what he was saying, I really find it hard to trust a guy who beats up multiple women and even has his own son who thinks that he's, not a good person. It just makes it hard. But we know there are people who are not good people that occasionally do good things and do make good witnesses. Even sometimes they're good informants in jail. They're not just, somebody who's been paid to do something or what have you. So I'd really be interested in what you guys have to say about all this because I just really don't know what to think. We'll see, tomorrow after Nate, if he does his show this evening, what he says. And of course, we're probably got another week before Candace is going to be back out here talking, and just putting a couple things up on X are not going to take care of this because, her response on X was just like, well, everybody's just calling me crazy and all this other stuff. But they're not going after the direct facts here. And then she's saying, well, Harpole and Amodi, their alibis aren't any good. And then you have other people who are saying, yep, their alibis are a slam dunk. And again, I feel like we're sitting here and we just don't know. What I would say to those of you who are giving me a chance and listening to me, if you are somebody who usually has followed along with something like Q or other things in the past, take the time to think for yourself and really survey everything before you just completely jump on or against anything. And even if there's sometimes you don't agree with people, it doesn't mean that you're just like, I'm totally against that person. Like right now, I don't know what's going on with Alex. I don't know if it's because he's in such financial straits. He's got somebody funding him. And so now he's, looking like a Laura Loomer because now she's his best friend, apparently. Or if he's just being honest and he really is feeling this way. He's given some really good information in the past, but I've always kind of looked at him as being a blowhard too. You kind of take him with a grain of salt. A lot of these independent people who are on YouTube and TikTok and everything, those are the people that I really like to listen to because they don't have a whole lot into this, especially if they don't have a large following. And not that I'm trying to like pat myself on the back or anything. I'm clearly not doing this for money because I'm not even monetized. So I'm just doing this for the love of it and because I feel a desire to peel back these layers. And so when people are starting to get really popular and starting to make a lot of money, it takes you. It like changes the way that you do things. I might even change the way that you talk in your opinions and stuff. And so I judge things according to that too. So I like to look at a lot of smaller accounts and people that aren't as popular because they really don't have a whole lot to gain from it. You could take it or leave it however you want to. One other thing that I wanted to address here is Epstein. We had a psych report that came out, and man, does this thing pretty much debunk everything that they've been trying to tell us about. Epstein didn't, that he did unalive himself. And, all of us are like, yeah, right. None of us are believing this. So I wanted to share what was posted out on this Psych Eval, I guess you could say. This is the Bureau of Prison Psychology Services Clinical Intervention, Clinical Contact. And it's talking about here the eating shower chart indicated yesterday that he ate dinner, drank liquids, took a shower when offered. So, I mean, this doesn't sound like a guy who I don't want to live anymore. Because basically, I think that's what they're trying to figure out. And this is back, let's see, this was July of 2019. He brushed his teeth, went to a legal visit, talked about business and investing to an inmate companion, ate and slept. When interviewed, he stated he still cannot remember what happened in SHU that caused the marks on his neck. He stated that for the 5 days before that, he had only slept about 30 minutes each night because of noise in SHU. He stated he is anxious about going back to SHU because he stated he is going back to a place where he had gotten marks on his neck and he does not know why it happened. Now, this fascinates me because how do you get ligature marks on your neck or whatever, or like as if somebody had tried to strangle you and you don't know how you got them? You had to have been drugged, right? I mean, it seems to me like he was drugged and out of it. If he doesn't know, he just like wakes up and all of a sudden he's got these marks on there. Unless he's saying he doesn't remember because he's like trying to protect himself, maybe, or protect somebody else. I don't know. But this just shows an indication of this wasn't him trying to kill himself, unless he was lying to whoever had come in to do this psych observation of him, which is possible. He might have been. But what really gets interesting here is he's eating, has an appetite, current mental status here at the bottom. He exhibited a neutral mood with a full range of effect. His speech was logical and coherent, with no loosening of associations or tangential, circumstantial, or irrelevant speech. Auditory and visual hallucinations were denied, and delusions were not elicited. He did not engage in any bizarre or inappropriate behavior. So he's not showing like he's mentally ill. He denied current suicidal or self harm ideation. He stated, I'm a coward. That's very key. He added he does not like pain and even does not like when he has to give blood. That's key too. Now, people who unalive themselves, I wouldn't say that that's brave, but I mean, it's going to be painful, especially if you're going to hang yourself in the way in which he was hanged. So I just don't see him doing that to himself. He agreed to immediately tell staff and inmate companions if he starts to have suicidal or self harm thoughts. He was future oriented. He does not appear to be in immediate danger to self. He denied thoughts of hurting others, and he agreed to tell staff and inmate companions if he has had these thoughts. So, Kash, Mr. FBI Director, can you explain to me how it is that this man then later unalives himself? And he has none of this going on. Now, there might be some people on the planet that, give no indication that they're going to do this kind of thing and then do. But you're never going to convince me that this guy did this to himself. And that is when I really started thinking, oh, no, no. I mean, we thought we're going to get Kash Patel in there, Dan Bongino, and we're going to clean up that FBI. And now, what did Dan Bongino give it, 6 months? Maybe a little bit more. I can't remember when he got in there, but he already waved the white flag and said, I'm out. I'm going back to my radio show and my podcast. I guess we could still, continue to scream about, we got to change things, even though you were somewhere where you could do something and you didn't do anything. And he can't really talk about it. So I don't know. Maybe he'll come out and tell us all, guys, I tried and there's just no fixing it. But I'm very disappointed in what I thought that these men were going to do. It's a lot of people who do a lot of talk, and then you get there and it's like, And then I had one other thing that was really fascinating to me. I think it was a couple episodes ago. I had wondered, what was it about September 10th that was special? Because when we have these events happen that basically change history, they're like these earthquakes in history, is what I like to call them. It's not an accident what day they happen, especially when there's a lot of planning involved. I mean, with Charlie Kirk, we know there had to be a lot of planning involved here. It might have had to happen in a short period of time, but this was a really elaborate plan, just based on how many layers of this onion we've had to peel off to even start to get to the bottom of it. This is a very elaborate plan. I don't think they would have just been like, no, throw a dart on the calendar or what thing. Dates are so important to the side that likes to do this kind of stuff. The evil ones and stuff, there's always significance there. And so I was trying to figure out, like, what is so special about September 10th? And I'm like, if it would have been the 11th, then we'd be like, okay, yep, we know number 11. Look what has happened on September 11th at other times. But September 10th was a little bit hard for me. And I know that we just had Christmas yesterday, and we all know that Jesus Christ was not born yesterday, 2,000 years ago plus. It was not in December, or I don't even know what the name of that would be on the Jewish calendar. But if we were to really peel back and look at somewhat accurate estimates, most scholars fall into it definitely was before October, probably in September somewhere. And I heard years ago a guy that championed the idea that maybe September 11th was Jesus Christ's birthday, and maybe that's why 9/11 happened on that day. Made a lot of sense to me. But then I was like thinking, a couple days ago, why couldn't September 10th be that? So I was, when I put stuff out there, I was, just trying to see what AI could come up with and Google searches, like what was going on September 10th. And I completely forgot that I ran across this article that I wanted to share with you guys. And I was going back through my phone and I'd taken screenshots of it because you never know when this stuff is just going to disappear, but it is still up. And I wanted to share this with you because I was like, what in the world is this? Let me bring that up for you guys so that you can see what I'm looking at here. So this came up. It was like almost the top of the search. And it says September 10th, why we're all wrong about the day. And it has that in quotations. And it's by this, whoever this Think Twice is. But look at the date when it was written, August 24th, 2025. So it's clearly talking about a future September 10th. I would think September 10th, 2025. And it says, ever get that feeling that knowing that something big is about to happen? We've all been there. Lately, the feeling has been amplified, swirling around a certain date, September 10th. Whether it's whispered in hushed tones online or debated in comment sections, there's a hum of expectation, a sense of impending something. But what if, just what if, that something is actually nothing? Now, we heard, and this is probably going along with some of the official narrative as they're trying to figure out who might have worked with Tyler Robinson. They were saying that there was some online chatter, and I know there was like a song that came out before this that was about, killing Charlie Kirk, and there was a lot of people were talking about, oh, September 10th, it's going to be a great day. Like they were already anticipating that something great was going to happen. And I don't know if that's what this person was picking up on or if it was something else, but it was really weird because it's almost like they're disconnected from what actually happened. Because for me, if I had written this and then Charlie Kirk gets assassinated on September 10th, I would be like, hey, everybody out there, look at what I wrote. Look at when I wrote it. But this entire article is going to be downplaying that day. So then I would have pulled it offline and gone, oh, that was kind of stupid because I was like, oh, nothing's going to happen. We live in an age of information overload where anxiety spread faster than ever. One person's hunch becomes a viral sensation, morphing into a collective belief. Suddenly, everyone is convinced that September 10th is the day the world changes. But where's the evidence, the concrete proof? Often it's rooted in speculation, fueled by fear, and amplified by social media algorithms that thrive on engagement, regardless of accuracy. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more we talk about it, the more real it feels, even if it's based on air. And I'm just sitting here going, okay, well, when you say everyone is convinced that September 10th is the day the world changes, like who's everyone? Did I miss something? Because I sure wasn't picking up on this. I was completely blown away about what happened on September 10th. So I'm like, where in the world is this person getting all this stuff? We're wired to seek patterns, predict the future. It's a survival mechanism. We crave certainty, especially in uncertain times. That's why we're drawn to prophecies, conspiracy theories, and dates that seem to hold significance. September 10th might simply be a date that's landed in the crosshairs of our collective anxiety, a focal point for our deeper fears about the state of the world. Assigning importance to it gives us a false sense of control. We think, if I know when it's coming, I can prepare. But what if there's nothing to prepare for? So they just keep putting forward this idea of nothing's going to happen. What if there's nothing? You guys are getting all anxious and worried about nothing. And I'm sitting here going, were people actually having a collective anxiety about something? Because I wasn't having that. How about you guys? Did you hear anybody talking about this? Was anybody else feeling anxious about anything? I can't even remember if I was feeling anxious before that. Was there something like in the ether? I'm into the unexplained and the paranormal and weird, odd stuff. So I could believe that there would be this, I don't know, something permeating the ether of everybody and getting into everybody's brain, because this was going to be a big world changing kind of thing that was going to happen. And then it's just going, instead of focusing on the potential for disaster, what if we shifted our perspective? What if September 10th became a day to celebrate the present, to appreciate the ordinary moments, to connect with loved ones? What if we use the collective energy surrounding this date to foster hope and resilience rather than fear and anxiety? It's a radical idea, I know. The real quote unquote event is up to us. Ultimately, the significance of September 10th, or any date for that matter, is what we choose to make it. We have the power to shape the narrative, to resist the urge to succumb to fear mongering, and to focus on creating a better future one day at a time. Maybe nothing extraordinary will happen on September 10th. Maybe it'll just be another Tuesday. But that doesn't mean it can't be a day filled with purpose, connection, and a renewed sense of hope. So let's ditch the doomsday predictions and embrace the present. The future's not predetermined. Well, maybe it wasn't predetermined by us, but somebody had something determined to happen there. So it's just weird. I'm like, why did this person write about feeling these September 10th jitters? And I haven't heard anybody else talking about this article. I'm just like, I just stumbled across it and I'm like, did I miss something? Maybe I'm just not clued into the rest of the world and they all knew that something bad was going to happen. It's just funny how this person is totally talking about nothing bad's going to happen. So why don't you just take all that anxiety and put it somewhere else? How did you know that? How did you know we shouldn't be anxious? Because clearly we should have been. So, written by Think Twice, whoever Think Twice is. About, that'd be about 3 weeks, not even maybe, before Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I don't know. All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me on this one. And would love to have you like, subscribe, share, do all the good things. And you can follow me on X at Freedomstein Munster or Freedomstein M. And I do have an Instagram. I haven't really done a whole lot with that, but that's also Freedomstein Munster as well. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to speaking with you again.